Excuse me, sir. What song are you listening to?
Did you just say that the patriarchal economies in a doll's house proves that having money monopolized by the male population will end in catastrophe?
Sir, that's not even close.
Well, come on. Let me show you a video that explains exactly that.
Now, the first step into proving this thesis is answering two questions to see what we're dealing with here. Firstly, let's establish who the powerful people are in the text. The men. Obviously, it is very clearly established early in the play that men are the ones in control. Within the first few pages, we are introduced to the Helmer family while also making it clear that the husband, the father, the patriarch, the man is on top. This man is named Torvald Helmer. Torvald is a great representation of the patriarchy at the time and has many values similar to men at the time. He is established to be the main financial provider of his household with his lucrative position at the bank he works at, fueling the idea that he is on top and that he has every right to treat his family lesser than, just like his subordinates. It doesn't help that these ideas were potentially given to him by the people in this upbringing, along with thousands of other men, stalling progress in equality. That leaves the poor women of the text, powerless, condemned to carry out domestic household duties, to take care of the children, and do anything her husband asks. This is the sad life of Nora Helmer, Torvald's wife, embodying the average housewife of the time. Deep down, she wants to be something more, but is held back by the societal norms of the time. But to men, this is what women are good for. The only thing they're good for, as they are the ones who provide. But why? Why do the men have power? And how on earth did things get like this? I mean, these societal norms have to come from somewhere, right? Well, it goes all the way back to hunter-gatherer societies when the brave, powerful, strong men would go hunt and the women would stay back and do domestic duties. That's essentially how it worked for hundreds of thousands of years. The men go out and provide, while the women stay home and do their domestic duties unquestioned. Thousands of years later, when we transitioned out of hunting and moved towards farming, organized work, and then to factories with the Industrial Revolution, this structure didn't change one bit. The only thing that did was that men got salaried jobs, but them still expected to be the provider. Now, money was earned and monopolized by the male population. Since no one was willing to hire a woman to a position of power, they relied on another man for their money to provide a stable life. They'd marry, even if the woman never loved her new husband. It's funny, as this is the exact dynamic that Torvald and Nora share in the play. Coincidence? I think not. This very toxic relationship between Nora and Torvald is bad. Like, very, very bad, due to not only their relationship dynamic, but the amount of alienation between the powerful Torvald and the rest of his powerless family. The root of this alienation is caused by Torvald's absence from his family, eliminating any chance that he has of forming a loving relationship with his wife and children. Instead, the only companionship Torvald has with any of the characters is one of the meaningless for Nora, forced to play along for her own stability. It doesn't help that he's essentially a ghost to his children, completely alienated from them. In fact, there isn't a single scene in the entire play where Torvald has a conversation with his children, because remember, he believes that's a woman's job, and that his salary matters more. I was trying to find an image of all the Helmers I could use for my PowerPoint, but I couldn't. At first I was upset, but then realized Torvald's alienation was the reason why. Torvald's job at the bank, trying to be society's expectation of the ideal man, trying to be the provider, leaves him so far removed from the rest of his family that it becomes broken. It isn't until the illusion of the societal norms is swept out from under him when he becomes desperate to maintain it, as Nora breaks free from the power that Torvald and society imposed on her. Now, Torvald begs for Nora to stay. He begs for his comfortable life back. She ultimately chooses to leave her husband and her children, forcing Torvald to come back down to earth and at least acknowledge the ignorant, blissful lifestyle that he and thousands of other men possessed in the time. It is ultimately proven that the thesis of having money monopolized by men will end in catastrophe. It was born out of an idea that men were the providers, the gatherers, the breadwinners, and because of that, men falsely assumed that they were superior. They used this incorrect idea to eventually rule the world, using the money they controlled to support this idea, and relegated women to the role of housewife, a role unchanged since hunter-gatherer times. When the information is presented like this, it seems rather obvious that it was destined to fail eventually, and the women would rise up. And eventually, it did, with wives such as the fictional Nora Helmer breaking free from their powerful husbands. It was these trailblazers that would eventually lead women to rise up all over the world and try to take their share of the power from men. Many countries began introducing pro-feminism laws, and today, gender equality is better than it's ever been. Albeit a lot of progress still needs to be made. More and more money are being earned by women thanks to the more inclusive job market, allowing them to be of greater importance than ever before. It has allowed society to have a bright, progressive, inclusive future instead of the patriarchal, male-dominated one that was destined to fail from the start.
I mean, I guess, but sir, you've never told me what song you're listening to.
Oh, that was the question. Oh, okay, never mind. I'm listening to
In the Sky from Microsoft Clipchamp.